Welcome back, you wonderful people, to SevTech Ages of the Sky, and it's time today to look at Immersive Engineering. Before I do it, I just want to quickly mention that I did craft myself some living armor. You see it has some basically upgrades, and that happens automatically behind the scenes when I'm actually doing stuff. Nothing I can control there for the moment, but just in case you see any upgrade messages, that's what it is. It's the same process we actually did last episode to do all the rest of the alchemy stuff. Hellfire Forge, binding reagent, iron helmet, iron helmet, and you get living helmet. Alright, easy enough stuff to do, and later on we'll strip these upgrades off and be able to add the right ones back on and do all kinds of stuff like that. However, for now, I've just created that set in the background because it should, as I run around, make me run faster. I'll pick up that upgrade. As I fall, it should let me basically reduce fall damage and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to have on. It sort of trains itself. You don't need to do anything. Anyway, on with Immersive Engineering. So I've connected these three cloches up with LV wire relays, which are multi-point connectors, and then LV wire connectors, which are single point. So you can't daisy chain along a connector. You can only daisy chain along relays. That's all connected back to an LV capacitor, and I've upgraded the water wheel to 3. You can't upgrade beyond 3 for a single dynamo. To upgrade beyond that point, you need another dynamo down and then another set of water wheels, so leave a gap for your next dynamo, etc., and stuff like that. And all works fine. You can daisy chain then sets of water wheels along, or you could do windmills, etc. We need to do a windmill anyway, but it's not like I'm going to need to use it with water wheels, so up to you entirely what you use for yourself. However, cloches, they take a few things. You'll see I've got some bits and pieces in here because I've been doing a bit of experimenting, but I'm going to hook this up on the screen so that you know what's going on, and that's not the right chest. Right, so what are we going to set these up? They need water, they need power, and then they need a bit of soil, whatever the item grows in, and then the seeds itself up here. Welcome back, you wonderful people, to SevTech Ages of the Sky, and today we're going to be doing Immersive Engineering. You'll see I've upgraded my water wheels to 3, so you can only do them in 3s, and then you have to leave a gap, basically, so you put your dynamo and another capacitor, perhaps, in another gap, and around you go. You could obviously don't need the capacitor, you could just run the connector off the dynamo, and then run everything back to this one capacitor and stuff like that. But yeah, I prefer it this way around. It's like a local buffer for the dynamo. So yes, we're going to be using sets of 3, and that will work perfectly well. You can obviously do windmills, and the horse is exploring down here. It's one of the ones I didn't move into the fences upstairs, but he's perfectly fine down here. And we're going to be using that power 4. So first of all, one of the things we're going to want is metal presses. But even before we get to that point, I want to just start with cloches. Now cloches, let's just put a few down. Where are they? They're in my inventory. There we go. Is that the way I want it? Yes, it is. So if I just put 3 of them down, and we need to connect them up. I've put some relays up here, the multi-point connectors. And if I just run up here, I can just grab on with my climbing gloves and just basically hook them up. There they go. And then just connect up the wire coils to the correct point. Point. That's 2 and 3. There we go. Okay. These things will grow food much faster than your farms upstairs. We won't need the farms upstairs at all from this point forward. Once we get these running, you'll see I've got some crates here. It's generated a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time. So let's actually set them so that they work for you. So below them, you're going to need water. Just to mention, this is the output slot right here. I tried some of the bottom ones, they didn't work. This one definitely works for output, and they auto output. You don't need to pull out of them. Just put a crate next to it and it will just happily dump its contents. So down here, what I did was set up a bit of water works. Yes, there's our well bucket. So that well bucket is going to be very, very useful. It's going to basically provide infinite water to the bottom of these. Now let's just pick up that lever for a second. And let's just, yeah, let's get rid of some of this other blocks. So we need to get the water out of there and into the bottom of the cloches. The bottom sockets have a thing there. Let me just do my replacement for torches for everything now on. Whoops. There we go. Nice and easy to see now. So we're going to be using Buildcraft as a piping network. Buildcraft is a very old mod. I remember it being back in 1.7, if not before. and it is a mod that is very immersive, just like Immersive Engineering. You see items moving through the pipes, which is sort of old style these days with things like applied energistics and Ender IO and stuff like that, pretty much never doing it because there were always problems with lag. But it is very immersive for low numbers of items. So to move basically liquids, you have the same thing. However, you do need to make pipe sealant. Pipe sealant is just cactus green in your crafting grid, or slime balls, but cactus green is easier. And that obviously is just from cactus, from a cactus or cacti, and you can put them in a cauldron. However, cactus, I have a small number upstairs, but I didn't have enough, so yeah, now I do. Because once you set at least one cloche up, it will just generate those very, very quickly by comparison to a farm. So what you then do is you take your Buildcraft transport pipes, which is easy enough to create. It's like a cobblestone and glass. It's really trivial. You take some wooden transport pipe, and then you upgrade that with the pipe sealant to make cobblestone, fluid pipe, and wooden fluid pipe, if that makes sense. So the wooden fluid pipe you put next to you wherever your source is, in this case the well bucket, it connects up, and then use up your cobblestone fluid pipe just to hook it to wherever you want it to go, and you're done. Except that this thing isn't powered yet. You need some way of powering this output, powering the sort of suction, if you like. So let's use a Redstone Engine, as the advancements suggest, and then you can just put a lever down next to it and turn it on. There it goes. And the water's going to start getting pulled out in a second into this wooden fluid pipe. There it goes. And then it starts going along the wood cobblestone fluid pipe. Now, if you need water in your base for many different things, cobblestone fluid pipe is essentially cheap. It's just like 2 cobblestone, one piece of glass for 8 of them. So it is very cheap indeed, and you only need one source. And the other advantage is that the fluid pipe itself acts as a buffer for your base. So if you need a lot of water, it'll maintain itself in that pipe. It's physically in the pipe, so you don't have to wait for the rate of whatever the well can provide. So this will start filling up your cloches, which it is. And then you got to choose basically the crop you want. So in my case, I've got enough of a few things here. I mean, I've got enough of pretty much everything here, but melons is a nice suitable one. So I'll get some melon seeds and a piece of dirt, and then we'll just pick this crate up. We'll pop it on the end. There we go. And then we'll just put the dirt in, the melon seeds in, and heck, we can just put some bone meal in for basically growing it faster if you wanted to. And that will happily start growing away. See, it's on now. And we'll do the same thing with not the cactus, because I don't necessarily need more of those, but let's just put sugarcane in, and let's put wheat in as well. Sugarcane, because there's one thing I wanted to actually create, and that is melon pie. Yeah, so this is the other good food other than fish and chips in this tier, which is to say it is melons. Oh, look, we're growing melons. Sugar, oh, look, we're growing sugarcane. Flour, oh, look, we're growing flour. And raw eggs. Yeah, raw eggs. Eggs. So I went and crafted some more fence. I went out into the world, and now I have chickens. This is my little chicken farm. In the middle there is a feeding trough, and as long as there's a certain number of chickens it will actually breed up to, and then it actually stops breeding. But if you're doing that, then that's fine. You can go ahead and breed yourself more and more chickens. And then I've got an ender hopper here with a wooden crate, and oh, I have eggs and feathers, and that's pretty good. So raw eggs, I think, is just you throwing eggs. This is what it does in this mod pack, yes. So I mean, this may generate chickens, so I suppose I should do it inside this whole fence, but as it is, I'm just getting lots and lots of raw eggs, and then we can convert them into that pie. Sorry about the noise. Oh, hello, chicken. We have extra special random chickens. A bit surprised there to be out of its egg, but otherwise we've got raw eggs, so we can then create pretty much everything in here quite easily with what we've got below and this, and we don't need to wait for basically this to provide fish, which I do actually need, still do, to get the other sort of the other nutrition stuff. So yes, still good, but a good source of food. And basically that invalidates all of these farms. So not the hemp, although we can grow hemp in there. So all of the wheat farm can go, all of the potato farm can go, all of the sugar farm can go, and all the cactus. So that is basically that whole section is replaced by 3 blocks. I'm very, very happy about using cloches every time they're actually in use in mod packs. So moving on from cloches, we need to then look at other blocks in Immersive Engineering. In our advancements, you can see we've got the Redstone Engine section, so that's completed. We've got modular machinery to go, but here we are down the whole line, which is towards the next age, which is going to be Immersive Engineering. So it says use the core sample drill, so that's fine. Before here, by the way, there is also a projector, and it's worthwhile at least picking that one up because we want to basically use multi-blocks in Immersive Engineering. The projector is a way that you see that in the world. So if we just go, that's a core sample, I'll come back to that in a second. If we just go back to a projector, the recipe is simple. You need to just do this, and we need to make a lantern. I need some glowstone. I've got some glowstone on me. It's fine. Let's just go for that. Make a lantern. Will it too large to craft? Oh, have I not clicked on that? No, I didn't click on that clearly. Lantern. And we'll get 3 of them for that recipe. And then we just need a piece of treated wood, which I've got plenty of, I'm presuming. Yes. This setup, where is it? There it is. Plenty of stuff from that, and we've got blocks of steel coming in, so I will be using those very, very shortly now as we get into Immersive Engineering. So 1 projector, and to do one of the first machines you want, which is the metal press. If you go into here, the engineer's manual, the metal press is actually a simple one to remember-ish. There are much more horrible ones to remember, but simple ones to remember. Let's just use it as an example. So metal press. It's now set to that. You see there's a few blocks to actually make. If we then take that and then craft it with the projector, we should get, displays instructions for displaying metal press. And that should, is it going to be a right? There we are. Yeah, you can see it'll display it in the world. And I think you can maybe hold that position. Just drop it down. I think I may well build this upstairs because it's can replace where the farms go, and I can just route the power upstairs and stuff like that. But for now, yeah, we can right click and you can see a nice interactive area where it'll show you what you need, of course, but you still need to actually go and pick up the various stuff. So you need 2 steel scaffolding, a redstone engineering block, a piston, 2 conveyor belts, and a heavy engineering block. So I always have problems with this because you can only see this when you're looking at the page or when hovering over that question mark, and remembering what you need is something else. So I will go and craft those things, and we'll make a metal press. You're also going to want molds, and I think that needs a separate blueprint for molds. Blueprint, there is a few. Crafting components, metal press molds, there you go. So you need a steel plate, basically, and some blue dye powder and some paper. So same as before, but just with steel plate. And I've been making steel, so I've got about nearly a stack now. Well, I should have a stack with what's in here. And I need some more coal coke, so I guess I'm going to have to go and process more coal. I've got some, I think. Yeah, about 2.5 stacks, so that can go into block form and then convert it to coal coke and then upgrade things to steel and yada yada yada. You've seen that before. Moving on, and then I'm going to go and make the metal press. Okay, I've got everything laid out, so I don't have to keep running around while crafting this stuff. So we've got some steel scaffolding. The rods for that are made with your little manual stone anvil, which is shortly going to become obsolete, I hope. Crafting station, then for a redstone engineering block. That needs a redstone alloy. It's just alloys. I've mentioned it before. It's just straight in the smeltery. Some steel mechanical components, and we put those together in here to make which one is it? This heavy engineering block. We just need some electrum, which I've been crafting up there. There's some electrum. So just gold and silver in your smeltery. That's that done. And then what else have we got left? We've got the conveyor belts. There we go. That's another advancement. I already crafted the blueprint. That is in the this already. You see it has a selection of different things you can go for, and the only thing that you need to choose any of them is 5 steel plate. So I've already got 10 steel plate going in there, but I think I'm probably going to want another 10 steel plate anyway. So I'll put them in here and we'll just grab this parts, because there's a couple we can immediately go for, and there's others that we can go for later. You're going to need the cutters. Do I have the cutters on me? I normally think I have them on me, and then oh, there they are. Yeah. So I'm not sure if we need a repaired version, but nope, don't, apparently not. So the plate one is the obvious first one to go for, and then the second one, I would say either wire or rods if you want to make more components. I'm just going to go for wire for now, and then those are the ones that are going to become handy as far as that's concerned. Packing 2x2, 3x3, and unpacking I'm not too concerned about. Bullet casing, again, not concerned about. It's really just these top 3 and that one. And for for initially, you'll just have one metal press, but eventually you just have one dedicated for each of those jobs, and then you don't need to worry about it. So let's pop down to our workshop area, or our workshop area, our sort of machine hall, or what will be a machine hall. And is the projector disappeared? It probably has. Let me just put that down. Ah, there it is. Good. It stays around for a little bit of time. So steel scaffolding. I'm going to need a piston, aren't I? Yes, I've forgotten about a piston. I need 2 pistons to craft it. I only have 11 total from the Twilight Forest visit. Can we actually just craft pistons now? We should be able to, but it's acacia plank siding, iron plate, octene. Octene's a bad one, ignore that one. Iron and redstone is the normal recipe. Weird that it's siding's on top, but we can actually craft it. So yeah, there's no problem with going back to the Twilight Forest, which I like. Where was I? Pistons in odds and ends, probably. Yes, pistons. Let's just grab one and pop downstairs for construction. I'm not sure if it needs to be facing down. We can always rotate it, I suppose. But yeah, well, we'll see. And then 2 conveyors. 1, 2, again, not sure if they need to be rotated the correct way. And then on the top is the heavy engineering block. So let's just put that in place. It's objecting to those already. They're in the wrong orientation. So yeah, easiest way to just solve that is I'm just going to put this correct block down when the conveyor belt stops throwing me off on top. And then I'm just going to basically reroute this one to be the correct way around by right clicking. Oh, you need to be in facing the correct direction, don't you? Yeah, let me just do that then. There we go. So that's no longer objecting to the center block, and the projector has pretty much disappeared again. So it may not like this. We'll see in a second. We just need the hammer. Where's my hammer? Immersive Engineering hammer. There you are. I never see these things. And is it the redstone block or is it the top block? I never remember. Where are you, book? There we are. Okay, those done. Those done. Click the piston with an engineer's hammer. There we go. Okay. It's trivial once you know how. Fine. And then we just need the connector, and possibly a relay, and possibly some... I'll definitely need the wire. So connector goes on top, as you might imagine. And you can either connect it directly to those 2. Did you have them in line? They're kind of in line. We just go for that, I think. And then later on we'll do it nicer perhaps. But this is just to get us going. Once we get on top. There we go. So that's being powered up. Yep, it's all done. So now we should be able to insert a plate mold right there, and you can just throw blocks into the one end and it'll come out the other. Not necessarily what we want though. What we may want to go is for some kind of hopper. I'm going to see if the default one works. This is sort of intended to work with conveyor belts, and there are a number of different conveyor belts if you want to use sort of an in-mod theme stuff. In particular, dropping conveyor belts, splitting conveyor belts, extracting conveyor belts, lots of nice stuff to send it vertically. And then because you may have magnets on you, there are covered conveyor belts that stop you ripping stuff off the conveyors as you're actually walking around. However, I just want to try a very, very, very standard, hopefully standard way of that with 2 crates. So let's give it a try. I want there, and let's see if it'll also insert into another crate. Let's just try making a steel plate. Just one. Off you go. Stamp, please. And off you go again. Okay, so that is essentially working, and we're getting plates. Similarly, not simultaneously. I'll get that right. Uses for this, basically one ingot straight into two wires instead of one ingot essentially from a plate into one wire. More efficient to use the wire press mold completely. So having this is a very good thing to have, and it being around is I'm very happy about, to be honest. Less resources spent on that. So that's not anything to do with the advancements, but it's definitely something you want to do any immersive engineering stuff. There are other machines as well that you're going to want. Let me just quickly mention them. In heavy machinery, improved blast furnace is nice, metal press is nice. These other ones, crusher, mixer, squeezer, fermenter, refinery, they're going to be needed for the fluid side of things to generate diesel, and a few of them are needed for that kind of stuff. Not going to touch them mainly for normal machinery. I'm not going to worry too much about them. I think crusher, mixer, I need to come back to and remember what they're about. But arc furnace is one of the main big machines, and it is a big machine. It's a massive structure, but it actually is all about smelting metals, as it says there, and is very useful. So let's just look at the arc furnace. Oh, it doesn't actually. They don't let me show the recipes for it. Never mind. That's fine. We'll show it when we actually build it. But we need a whole lot more room than we have here to do that. Anyway, that's not anything to do with the progression of the pack just yet. Progression of the pack we should move on to, which is making a core sample drill. So we're on ore veins, sure. I mean, we already can do that, but liquid is the main one that we can't. It's not physical liquid in the world, as far as I understand it. It's just it's mythical, fictional liquid that appears. So let's just go for that. So a small sample, we need a core sample drill. And this isn't a multi-block structure. This is like a regular item to make. That's more steel scaffolding, steel fence, and light engineering block. Now, I've got enough steel scaffolding. Fence, you might imagine, is just steel rods, steel ingots. Rods we can now actually make with the metal press. So one ingot being 2 steel rods. So we can go make another mold for that. That's good. And then light engineering block is just iron mechanical components with copper, with more iron. So again, very simple. And here's the core sample drill. You test on a chunk by chunk basis. So if I test, let's just say this particular chunk right here. So that one facing over there. And we just need to get power connected. So we can use a portable capacitor if we wanted to, but since we're testing at home base, we'll just basically hook it up there and right click, and it'll start drilling. You can see the drill on the inside. Once it's finished, it's going to give you an invisible item. Annoying, but you'll hear it hit your inventory, or when you right click on it, etc., you'll hear it hit your inventory, and it'll give you the basic sample results. So there it is. You heard that, hopefully, just a little bit, and you can see, there we go. So no minerals, 14,000 buckets of oil, and yeah, that's fine. So that's for this chunk for oil. I did, just before recording, test this chunk, and it had the same thing, but also said there's 32,000 ore of caseritite, and caseritite doesn't actually, oh, there it is. Yeah, caseritite processes into, it's either copper or tin. I can never remember which one it is, but basically one of those two. It says the 32,000 in this chunk, and that is fine, because obviously we can see malachite here. But I think, again, it's just ore and liquids that don't exist in the actual world. It's just indicated that we can get them. Now, from that, the next thing in the advancement is taking us down into drilling for oil. So we need a pump jack to extract it and basically grab a bucket to complete the advancement. So what I'm going to do is knock the wall through here for this, and then I think we're going to start expanding outwards from this, and sort of we'll figure out where we can put our machines, and maybe between the episodes I can rearrange those to make it look neater, just like I did upstairs basically. But to get started, you're going to need to then craft a pump jack. So if you recraft your projector to say pump jack, so you basically go to the pump jack page in your manual, you can then see basically how big the pump jack is, and you can see that is quite large. And it would be nice if there was an easy way to rotate that projector block, but you can see we already need to knock out some of the ceiling to get that done, and there's other bits and pieces. So if we have a look then at the ingredients for what we actually need rather than the projector block itself, we have here, you obviously see there's quite a bit of stuff. There's quite a bit more stuff. More steel scaffolding, more of all the stuff that we've made, and I'm going to do that off camera as before. So yeah, just put that in mind. There's quite a lot in these larger multi-block structures, and I need to remove the ceiling. So I'm off to do a bit of work. Okay, so our pump jack is now up and working. It's built according to the projector. It's hooked up to our main power network, and it is stopped. Yeah, can I actually just extract oil straight from the flue pipe? Looks like not. Let's see if it auto outputs. It looks like... Oh, it does. Good. I don't need to set up wooden pipes for that then. Let's see if that's a full bucket in there yet. No, doesn't look like it. Okay, so it is apparently working away, although maybe I should remove the ceiling one more. That isn't actually stopping it. It was actually working before. I think it's more of a power... Yeah, it's a low power issue. We don't have enough. Yeah. Those water wheels are not providing enough power for this to actually work properly alongside our cloches. So temporarily, I'm just going to disable the cloches by the expedient method of deleting or getting rid of the connectors and leave the pump jack alone. And then what I'm going to need to do is obviously make more water wheels. And this should then produce me some more, well, enough crude oil for me to pick up a bucket worth. And that should be good for the first stage, which is here in our advancements. Here. Next thing after that, we need to build a petroleum distillation tower to process oil. So, distillation tower. Yeah. This is a little bit more steel than I kind of was expecting. So I think I'm going to have to get rid of our existing furnace. I think we need to go faster. Now, not quite to arc furnace levels yet. There is an intermediary point called an improved blast furnace. So let's actually do that. Now, let me just take some of this stuff out of here. And we're just going to remove these blocks. Because we're going to upgrade them with steel to make them improved blocks. There's a cat around somewhere I need to get rid of again. So I should just use the hammer for this. But yeah. Well, at least it's not hitting it with an axe or a sword or something, but yeah, it's still a little slower than I was expecting. So we should have 27 of these now. We do. And I think we can just upgrade them with steel plates, yep, to get reinforced blast brick, which is exactly what we want. And we're going to need a hopper as well and to head downstairs. This thing's going to need power, unfortunately, so you can't just sit there with nothing, but... aside from that, we can actually put it, I'm going to just put it level with the walls, where the walls are going to be anyway. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the usual 3x3 above it. And then above that, we're going to just go with one hopper in the middle, and that should be everything we need for this, at least for the base version of it. So we want, I've got a couple of hoppers, and then my hammer, have I lost my hammer again? There it is, good. Okay. There we go. So there's the reinforced blast brick furnace, basically. It's an upgraded furnace. That's not quite it, though. We can put 2 preheaters, and I believe they go on the sides, like this. Okay, and that makes the whole thing process faster. However, each of those need power, so we're going to have to connect everything up to our existing system. So let's get some relays and some wire. I've only got 2 wire. I'm going to need to make some more LV wire coil. I can probably get away with uninsulated here. It'll probably fry me every time I actually do this, but hey, we'll give it a try. So we just want a couple of connectors. There we go. And then a couple of relays above those, just so it's nice and isolated from crossing right where I'm crossing in the game. So that's going to go there. That's going to go there. And then... where's my insulated? I'll use uninsulated for here because I'm never going to step up there, I think. And now that I've said that, that's going to be a bit of an issue. But otherwise, is that one higher? It is one higher. So we're going to have to just knock some blocks out of the way or have a higher a higher relay somewhere to actually get that to work, or move it down one. Maybe let's just move it down one. Let's put one there. And I'm just going to use my insulated now, because I may well be moving around. Connection is obstructed by, and it's it's the cloches. I'm just going to remove this, the stuff on top of the cloches. Oops, these. Because I'm going to move the cloches to somewhere else. This was always temporary, so the rest of the machine hall is not. And there we go. So that can go there. That can go to there. Yes, and then everything should be hooked up. So you should be receiving power. You are receiving power. And then in here, we have the same interface as before. We're going to want to put coal coke in there, and we're going to put iron in there, and it should start producing now. It does output automatically on front and back. Do I have crates? No. I'm going to just go and get a couple of chests or something upstairs. The slag comes out the back, the metal comes out the front, so you're going to want to have something there. And I think it auto outputs, so you don't have to do anything special, but this should be faster than before. I also changed the metal press over to that nice sort of dropping conveyor belt system, and then an upper from this. It still works identically, it just doesn't stick up into the world as much. I'd even sort of lower this down one into the ground if I... Yeah, I think that would actually look pretty nice. As long as this actually went straight up, that I would be happy with that. So one at the front and one at the back. And I think that's set up as fast as it can be. So it is certainly progressing faster than before, because that just moved. Before it takes a while, maybe it's a coincidence. But yeah, that moved again. So it is moving faster, and we should get it coming out the front. Now, the next step beyond that is the arc furnace, but the reason why I didn't go for the arc furnace, if we just go back again, up to heavy machinery and arc furnace is, yes, this again needs, well, cauldron is irrelevant. Steel, sheet metal slab, they're not too bad, they're quite cheap, but 6 blocks of steel. That by itself, and then 10 light and 5 heavy engineering block, and then you need to reuse your reinforced blast brick again, so that's going to destroy this setup unless you make more. So I'm just going to need steel, and more steel. So I'm going to leave that alone. Is this now draining? It is draining, so I'm going to... I've already removed the cloches. Yeah, I've already removed the cloches, and I've turned off the pump jack with a lever. It goes on the sort of red block on the end there. Also, because this auto outputs, I don't need anything but cobblestone fluid pipe here. I don't need an extraction pipe, so that will be handy for sending it elsewhere. And Carry On does let you actually just pick up these as well, so you can have these stored wherever you like to have a bit of a sort of buffer if you want. But since the advancement wants us to do this, yep. There we go, that's the drilling for oil advancement. And then we need to get to that distillation tower. I'm gonna have to do a lot of work in the background, a lot of waiting for this thing to process, because I've got a lot of blocks of iron. But I think I'm also going to do is move the coal coke oven down here as well. I'll clear out some of this room, and then we'll have coal coke. Maybe auto... Can we auto insert? I think we can insert from the top. And that means I probably want it up there, but that's where these are right now. Annoyingly, yes, you can insert into the top. So if we wanted to do that, we'd probably want the coal coke oven above it, and then hoppers leading down, and then I could just rework these connectors. That's easy enough done. Anyway, I'll do that in the background. I'll bring you back once we're ready. And the improved blast furnace was not enough by itself, so I upgraded it by putting not just the regular coke oven, but the improved coke oven above the top. Same process, same sort of build. It's in the book already, so I didn't want to cover it again. 2 preheaters either side, and at the back you can see a cobblestone fluid pipe leads to the top of our sort of tanks from Buildcraft, and they I think that's pretty much blocked up now. Yeah, it's filling up, if not full up already. And at the front we've been getting blocks of steel, which I've been moving across into this crate. There we go, so we've got 8 blocks of steel and lots of other stuff. Yes, actually the packing 3x3 and the unpacker turns out to be quite useful. I said they weren't earlier, but I wasn't remembering this pack. In this pack, you can do that to basically pack up coal blocks from coal, etc., and unpack them from 3x3, so very handy there. Anyway, that's all up and running. Everything is running as you might imagine. It just outputs into a crate at the top, which goes into a hopper, which goes into the top of this, so that's all fine. I went through and then built the refinery. This is a huge block, so large that it goes up into where my farms were, all the way up there. You can see it's sort of daylight. That's the actual ground level, the top level of the island. And to finish that off, I think we just hit this one. Yes, it is. So this is the basic on-off. So you can always have a lever there to be able to control it and leave it off in that case if you've got it. It has a user interface, so we've got plenty of other stuff we can put in there. But we're going to have an input and some output. So the input is over here, the blue dot, as you might imagine. And the output is back here. So the liquid output, I should say, is back here. So we can see we have this. It's fluid pipe. So we're going to need to want to deal with it with fluid. And out this side, we have a hole. And that's going to be bitumen output. There's a chance of getting some bitumen from that. So I do want to create, just to make sure my solids output is actually managed and dealt with. I don't have to worry about it until it fills up. And then the liquid input we need to put over here. So I have some cobblestone pipe, and I've piped it already out for the output of that. So this should start once we have everything hooked up. So there is my connector with crude oil. And that's going in there. So we should see it in here. Yeah, oil is filling up. Now we just need a power connection. And is there a power poles? I think, I can't remember what they're actually called. But there are sort of like a poles for carrying power that aren't just really just mounting them on existing stone. So I will have to actually research that a little bit. I can't remember what they're called. I'll show them next episode anyway. Because we're running out a little bit of time for this episode. So I've got to get a lot done. Got some more of the insulated stuff, so let's just use that. And then I need another connector, so I'm going to need to go and craft one. But yeah, other than that, we're just going to... This is shut off because I've been just rerouting and basically tidying everything up in terms of cabling. So that will be pretty nice. And that should do there. And then I'm not sure how long these sections can be, but let's give it a go there and let's see if everything connects. So you to you to you, and whoops, not you. There we go, and then across to the rest of the network. Okay, so that should be all connected, and then we just need one connector here to finish off the build. With the connector done, that just means a relay and hooked up, and that comes on, and it starts consuming power at a rate of knots. Let's just see, is everything draining? You're at 0. You're holding. That's good. And you're draining, so it may well drain from each of them individually, so that's fine. Let's see what it's actually done as far as the user interface. It has created naphtha and diesel, and there is a bucket of each available. So what I want is a quick couple of tanks to illustrate the point, hopefully. A couple of tanks we can just use with glass, like this. And then I just want a bucket. And some more of my fluid pipe. So let's just see if I can just separate these easily. At least, you know, just for a quick test. We can always do this better later. One there, one there. So it's going to have one fluid in it. So let's just try outputting it into one tank. And then we need to wait, really, for it all to output. Well, in fact, that tank should be filtering. We just want to make sure that it deals with all of one of the liquids before I put this in. I'm going to put it there. Let's see if that actually flows. Yeah, so both of those tanks now have their own unique liquid in them, which means I should be able to pick up, once it outputs everything, it's actually already finished. Once they output, I should say, we should be able to get a bucket of each to grab the advancement. So that's still not finished outputting. So I'm going to cut forwards. I just moved this tank and there, that should be done. So that's one bucket of diesel and one bucket of naphtha. Goal reached, distillation, and that is taking us to here. So we have a split. We can process diesel into kerosene, gasoline, and lubricant. And that's not the path, however, that we need to move the rest. To move the rest, we need to do immersive engineering boilers or solar towers, produce and grab a bucket of steam. You might think, steam in a bucket? Yes. This is Minecraft. That's that's perfectly fine. It's a sealable bucket. And then into chemical mixers, into liquid processors, and into plastic. So next episode, we're going to cover the route to plastic, which means building a solar tower or a boiler. I kind of like the idea of solar towers because then I don't have to build more of these. The other thing that we can actually do is the generator. Is there a generator? I haven't built them yet, but there's a thermoelectric generators you can build with Constantan, steel, and the usual copper coil blocks. All you do with these is put a hot liquid on one side and a cold liquid on the other, and they'll generate power. The best two liquids I know of that you've used in the past and mod packs have been liquid starlight and lava. I don't know of any hotter liquid than lava, so that should do the job. And don't let the two touch, obviously, but put them on opposite sides. So you tend to have them in blocks that look something like this, okay? And you have the generators, so you'd have starlight there, etc. And then you would have your generators like this, and the liquid starlight in the middle, and the lava on the outside. You get the idea. Straightforward to actually build, but it gets us more power, which is definitely a good thing. So I'll end the episode there. That's been pretty good setup for immersive engineering. I was going to say industrial craft. That's also an old mod I need to look into again. Is it still even available? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, it's probably in Greg Tech in some way. So I think that's pretty good for one episode. If you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe down below, click on the bell for notifications, and of course like the video if you have liked it, and more importantly, leave comments for other people. And if you have any tips that you haven't seen me not show here, put them down below, and I'm sure people will be very interested. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for some more SevTech Ages of the Sky.